In this lecture, we'll have a quick look at the Tableau Extract. Tableau Extract is a Tableau proprietary format for storing offline data. The extracts are optimized to work with Tableau software and generally are a recommended format for storing data for use by Tableau. Having said that, being a proprietary format, it means that Tableau extracts can only be utilized by Tableau software. So let's have a quick look at how to create an extract and some of its features. So again, we'll use our sample dataset that comes with the default installation of Tableau, sample superstore subset, and we'll drag orders onto the main sheet, and maybe we'll drag returns on there as well. We'll specify this to be a left join, and maybe I'll include users as well. Again, we'll do a left join. Once you're happy with the specification of your data source, we can choose a method for connection, either live or extract. Extract provides you with an additional option that we can edit the extract. So clicking on that provides us with that prompt. Here we can set up filters. So for example, we can add a filter for a customer segment and choose only consumer customer. In addition, you can specify the level of aggregation in the extract. Selecting this option will instruct Tableau to aggregate within the extract itself using the default aggregation methods of each of the fields. Selecting this option will mean smaller extracts, and it may benefit the performance. In addition, you can actually choose a level of data aggregation. So if we know all our reporting is to be at the monthly level, we would choose month in here. So we can roll updates to the month. Doing this results in smaller, better performing extract file, but on the flip side, the details are lost and you will have to go back to the source to obtain them if required. So we'll switch that off for now, and because our file is quite small, we don't really need to worry about the aggregation. Lastly, we can specify the number of rows to extract. Top n rows is useful for sampling and building prototypes on large data sets. Generally, you wouldn't use this in the production type scenario. The other option allows us to specify whether we want full refresh or we want to have an incremental refresh. Full refresh will assure that the data is fully synced with the source, but it may take longer than the incremental refresh, obviously. With the incremental refresh, you need to specify the field to be used for determining changes in the underlying data. In data warehousing situations and implementations, tables generally contain fields such as a load date or update date, which can be used to control the incremental extracts. All right, so once again, our underlying source is quite small, so we'll choose to do all rows. We'll click on OK. So once we specify extract properties, clicking on Go to Worksheet will prompt us to save the extract to a specific location. So you can see that the extract has a .tde extension. I'll just give it a name and click on Save. What this does now, it actually connects to underlying data source and pulls the data out and stores it into a .tde file at the location you specified. In our main view, we can see that we're connected to Tableau extract type source, which is indicated by two little cylinders. And from here, it's business as usual, and we can build our visualizations and dashboard. So for example, let's quickly build one by dragging the profit into color, product category into columns, and order date into rows. This shows us the profitability of each of the product categories across time. So you can also access the extract menu by right-clicking on your source. So here we have a few different options with extracts. From here you can access the main extract menu to change its properties. This is the same menu that we've seen before. So from here, if we actually wanted to include other types of customers, we can actually remove this filter and we can re-extract. In this case, our data has changed, so our table has changed as well. The other things you can do, you can switch use of extract off and on. You can refresh the extract. You can append data to the extract from either a file or another connection within the workbook. For example, if you had historical data sitting in various spreadsheets, you can add them to this extract. The requirement is that the file or connection you're using is in the same format as the extract itself. Combining data into extracts can become quite complex, and it might be better it's done outside of Tableau, but it obviously depends on your requirements. From here we can also see the history of extracts. So if I click on that, it gives us a log effectively of dates and times and whether it was a full or incremental type refresh. In addition to file extract, there are a couple of other file types used by Tableau that you should be aware of. You can save information about a particular connection or data source into a Tableau data source file type, which has a .tds extension. This file contains metadata about the source system, such as hostname and username, and is effectively a shortcut for connecting to commonly used sources. In addition, it also contains information you define in your workbook, such as groups, sets, calculated fields, bins, and default field properties. For example, number formats, default aggregation, sorting order, and so on. Obviously, this information might be sensitive, so take care about storing these files on your network. The other file type you should be aware of is a package data source. It contains .tdsx extension, and this file contains Tableau data source file we just spoke about, as well as any local data source, such as a Tableau extract, Excel files, text files, and so on. In other words, it contains both data and metadata. So you would use this type of file when you want to share source data with people who may not have access to it. To create the data source file, you can right-click on your connection and go to Add to Save Data Sources. And from here, you actually can choose whether you want to save it as a Tableau data source or as a Tableau packaged data source.